Good evening, thank you very much for joining us. Tonight, the young girl who can hardly bear to look at herself in the mirror and the parents who fear they'll never see her grow up. Battling with weight has become an all-consuming problem for the Mills family in Leeds.
Now, Dad Stephen emailed us asking for help after Leeds refused funding for a Fit Camp programme. As Amanda Harper reports, it's become an obesity experts descended on Yorkshire Today a real problem.
When I was at my big stage, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go with my friends because they're all skinny and small, and they're just, they can eat anything, they can do anything they want, and to me, it's hard for me in a way.
16-year-old Kirsty says she just wants to be like everybody else. She's already lost 3 stone, but still battles with her weight every day.
I've been named a beast, and when I'm out with people, and they just look at me in disgrace all the time, so I just had to do something about it. I've seen my mum go through life as big as she is, and she's done it, so if she can carry on, so can I.
As a family, the Mills are determined to turn their lives around. Recently, they took part in the Leeds Carnegie University Club, a scheme which encourages healthier living through sport and diet.
Since we've been starting the Carnegie Hall, they've taught us how to change our lifestyle, basically. Which we buy low-fat cottage cheese, we buy a lot of tomatoes. Instead of buying the full-fat cheese, we buy a light cheese.
Now Kirsty's parents believe a residential course would give their daughter the final push to lose weight. The Carnegie camps have achieved impressive results, but Leeds PCT has refused to fund it.
Sarah's got an enlarged heart. These are problems that are brought on by by overweight, and we don't want his daughter to get the same way.
In a statement today, Leeds PCT say residential weight management courses generally focus on educating the child away from the family unit and don't always provide evidence of long-term effectiveness in reducing weight and improving diet. Applications are, though, very carefully considered. Kirsty is determined to carry on losing weight and hopes one day to run a marathon. This is a young teenager who will blossom, but only with the right support. Amanda Harper, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Well, Dr Matt Capon, a Rotherham GP, is on the National Obesity Forum. You heard the family in that report there. That's a real cry for help. But how can they be helped?
Well, obviously, I'm a clinician and not a politician, so I wouldn't be able to comment on the specifics or what suggests to be an implied postcode lottery. But it's very disappointing as a clinician to see somebody brave enough to admit that they've got a weight problem, asking for help, and then being told that they can't access it. Now, we don't know what services she has got access to, whether she can see her GP, her health visitor, dietitian or other, so it's difficult for me to comment on the specifics.
I suppose some people might look at Kirsty and say, OK, she's not that fat, but in a sense she's being incredibly brave by acknowledging that she's got a major problem.
Yes, we have a problem with society as a whole in the fact that we've normalised obesity. Now, we can look in a playground, see an obese child and just think they're slightly overweight or chubby, and we see an overweight child and think they're normal. And it's that normalisation that we've got to get away from. And the only way that we're actually going to see the extent of the problem is encouraging parents to actually come in and be weighed and measured more often, because it's now an accepted fact that being overweight or obese as a child does lead on to health problems in later life.
Now, you spend virtually half your time on the subject of obesity now. What practical advice do you give then to people when they come to you and ask for help?
It's all done on a very individual basis because it depends on what the actual problem is with the individual. It could just be a problem with calorie intake, maybe a diet issue, maybe an exercise issue, and depending on the extent of the weight problem, they may be appropriate for medications or surgery, so it has to be tailored to the individual.
Very quickly, can you give Kirsty hope?
Kirsty should go and see a GP because I'm absolutely sure there are some weight management services available in her area. That was the whole point of today's Obesity Summit, to make people aware of what's available.
Dr Capon, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thanks.
He triumphed at school with top marks, and when 18-year-old Majid Ahmed was told that he'd been accepted for University Medical School, he was quite simply overjoyed. After growing up in a deprived area of Bradford, Majid said getting into university was the first step to turning his life around. But as John Cundy reports, his dream was snatched away because the authorities discovered he had a criminal conviction in his past.
Majid Ahmed says he's a role model, community worker and desperate to be a doctor. But he is a convicted burglar, something he wants to put behind him because he now can't get a place at medical college.
People are quick to look at this one minor spent conviction. It seems that I got in touch with the wrong people and I got involved with the wrong crowd of people, and I was kind of duped into entering this property.
As one of 7 children, Majid believes his deprived background in the Little Horton area of Bradford has also influenced the Imperial College to reject him.
My story shows a boy coming through so many different struggles and making so much out of so little, but it's come to a point now where I've hit this wall where I can't go any further because it's the universities and the big institutes who are not willing to look at individuals like myself.
But the Imperial College said in a statement it does not discriminate on the basis of a conviction. A second interview might be required which could confirm or withdraw an offer of a place. The medical authorities would say that patients have got to have absolute confidence in their doctor. How could they if they found out you're a convicted burglar?
You have to look at the whole bigger picture as well. I mean, you can't just judge a person on this one minor offence. We are only human and we make mistakes. If you look at all the other good things that I've done as well, I'm sure people will be more than happy to have me as their doctor.
It seems the dream of reaching medical college may have faded for Majid Ahmed, but he's still pleading for someone to give him the chance to be a doctor serving his community. John Cundy, BBC Look North, Bradford.
As ever, we want to hear your views. Should a mistake in your past stop you from turning a corner in the future? Or should you take the consequences of your actions for the rest of your life?
Live reaction already. Give us your views, though. You can text us. The number you need is on the screen now. It's 07786 202 666. Or you can send us an email. Our address is look.north@bbc.co.uk.
Do stay with us later on Look North.
On track for Olympic glory, we meet the Yorkshire cyclist who's heading for Beijing on a £1 million bike.
First, though, more of today's news. Police looking for Yorkshire's most wanted man have made an arrest. A 55-year-old man answering the description of David Newton from Nottingley in West Yorkshire was arrested at 4:15 this afternoon after a search in a wooded area at Hale in Cornwall. Police want to speak to Mr Newton over 2 serious sex assaults 9 years apart. He'd been missing since Friday. The arrested man will now be brought back to West Yorkshire.
A woman from Scarborough who's waiting to hear whether she can claim compensation for being wrongly convicted of killing her baby son has been told the Court of Appeal has reserved judgment. Lorraine Allen served 16 months in prison after being found guilty of the manslaughter of her son Patrick. Her conviction for shaking the 4-month-old baby was later quashed after medical opinion changed. While she was in prison, Mrs Allen gave birth to another boy who was forcibly adopted. The Court of Appeal heard her case for claiming compensation today, but they could take several weeks before delivering their decision.
Severn Trent Water has been fined £2 million for providing false information on leakages to the regulator Ofwat. They've also agreed to pay costs of £220,000. The company had previously been fined £35.8 million for separate offences involving providing false information and poor customer service.
20-year-old Alan Chadwick was shot dead in Leeds last week, and now detectives have issued an e-fit photo of a woman they'd like to question about the killing. She'd been knocking at doors with 3 men in the Hare Hills area asking for someone called Michelle. Police believe the killing was a case of mistaken identity.
3 people killed when their cabin cruiser overturned in high seas off Whitby didn't even have a basic level of training in seamanship. An official report into last year's tragedy says Andrew Carrick, John Carrick and Jill Russell's decision to sail was ill-conceived.
Campaigners fighting plans to build an industrial waste transfer and crushing plant in North Yorkshire held a protest today. Councillors are considering a planning application for the site near Boroughbridge, but residents say it'll generate noise and dust pollution.
We anticipate not just huge interruptions to the daily lives of people with 40-tonne wagons coming in every 6 minutes, but there will be noise pollution, dust pollution, and We think it's dangerous, positively dangerous, to have this number of vehicles coming in and out of the town every 6 minutes.
Now we continue our series about 60 years of the National Health Service. Penny Bustin has been talking to people who were there at the outset. Last night it was a doctor, tonight a nurse.
In July 1948, Mabel Fox was just finishing her 4-year training at the Leeds General Infirmary, which in those days was supported by donations. There was apprehension as the appointed day, July the 5th, approached.
For the whole of the year, about a year beforehand, I would say, when we knew that we were being taken over by the National Health Service, there was an awful lot of apprehension. Nobody knew what was going to happen because we had been quite separate. We'd almost been like a family, a very strict family, but it was like a family. I mean, the honoraries, as we called the consultants in those days, prior to National Health, had a sort of avuncular, very strict avuncular. They used to go to church on a Sunday morning and do the round after they'd been to church, and occasionally the wives came with them. It was that sort of atmosphere, but we stuck to attention, etc. We knew now that the administration were now the bosses. The doctors were the bosses before that. We had this big brother above us that we never had before, and that was the feeling. Everybody had been told that the minute the health service came in, everything would be free, with the result that the hospitals were overcrowded. Instead of having, say, 20 beds, there would be at least 30, getting on for 40. Beds were put between beds all the way along. We hadn't enough of anything. The babies in their cots were topped and tailed. We hadn't enough cots for them. Well, I'm thankful that it did sort itself out. I'm proud of Britain that we did do this, because looking now at LGI, it's a palace compared with what it was. I'm thankful that I lived through it and that it's continued to grow, and that I'm leaving the hospitals better than when I went into them.
And more from Penny tomorrow, before 7 o'clock.
Taking the pain out of pick your own, we meet the Yorkshire farmer with a cunning plan.
And it's Costa Bradford, soaking up some rays as summer finally arrives. But will it last? Next tonight, a South Yorkshire village remembers a disaster which changed the entire country. 170 years ago, 26 children drowned in a flash flood at Huscar Pit near Silkstone.
It led to a change in the law stopping women and children from working in mines. Now relatives of the dead are among the cast of a new play, Profit and Loss. Tom Ingle has this story.
Now, have you got your candle, Tommy?
Aye.
Profit and Loss is no ordinary play. Rosa Wilde is playing the part of 8-year-old Sarah Newton. Sarah was one of 26 children who drowned in the Huscar Pit disaster.
I don't like the row it makes, Sarah. That's only the winding gear. That won't hurt you.
Yards from where the stage is set up, a headstone marks the mass grave of the dead. Lives barely begun, but whose ending changed the country. Queen Victoria had only been on the throne for 4 days when a flash flood swept through a mine shaft. She was appalled and ordered a royal commission. Later, the law was changed and women and children were prevented from working in the mines.
Just the fact that what happened here did change the law, and so there is a sort of pride in it. You can't be proud about a disaster, but a sort of ownership of it. This is what happened here, and it happened on our patch. And so I think people do care about that quite rightly and want it to be continued to be remembered.
Some of the play's cast members have a very personal connection to the disaster, the site of which is marked with a monument. Kieran Pickering's great-great-great-great-grandfather escaped. His great-great-great-aunt wasn't so fortunate.
Tragic that they died, obviously, but it's like proud that you're representing children who died.
They didn't really care that the children went down. Nobody cared. It just, when they died, people started to, think about it.
How? Me head.
The terrible events of July 1838 are recreated today with impressive lighting and sets. The horror of the accident and the terrible yet accepted working conditions of the day are laid bare. In Silkstone, 170 years ago, was where the change began. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Silkstone.
Thanks, Tom. Let's turn to sport now. And there was fantastic weather at Headingley for day 3 of Yorkshire's match against Durham, but it didn't inspire a Yorkshire recovery, I'm afraid. The points have already gone to Durham. Yorkshire were top, of course, set them a measly-looking victory target of 111, and thanks to a terrific century partnership between De Venuto and Collingwood, and some pretty wayward bowling from Darren Gough and co, they reached it quite comfortably shortly after the tea interval. Durham sealed their victory by 8 wickets, and it has to be said, they thoroughly deserved it. De Venuto finished with an unbeaten 65. Collingwood made 44. Durham's win leaves them a level on points with Yorkshire in the county championship table.
Come on, boys. I mean, we had big things planned. Let's not lose it right at the last minute. OK, now for the latest in our big build-up to Beijing. Yesterday, Tanya braved the elements when she joined sailor Paul Goodison's crew. Today, it's the turn of cycling.
Ed Glancy from Huddersfield is one of Yorkshire's and probably Britain's best hopes of an Olympic gold. He's a member of the Team Pursuit, and Neil Smallburn's been to Manchester Velodrome to see him putting in some vital training.
This is Ed Clancy training, but we're not allowed to show him on the bike he'll be using in Beijing. That cost millions of pounds to develop, weighs only 7 kilograms, and, until the Olympics, is top secret.
The tyres are not like you'd have on a road bike. They're tubular tyres. The inner tube's got sewn into them. They run very high pressures, 220 psi. It's perhaps 5 or 6 times what you'd have in your car. There's no brakes, no gears.
It costs millions to develop, and there's no brakes and no gears. You've been done.
You don't need them. There's no hills. One standing start.
And one chance to get it right. At the last 2 World Championships, Ed and his teammates got gold. Surely that means the pressure's on this summer.
We're definitely the favourites, I think, in Beijing to win. But there's always pressure, whether you're expected to win or you're expected to lose. I guess we've just got to go out there and do our best, and hopefully it'll be good enough again. There's a lot of people you can disappoint if you mess up in a team pursuit. It's not only yourself, it's your teammates, the coaches, the managers, the whole infrastructure of British cycling.
And what's it like when you're out on the track? How tiring is it?
The 4 minutes when you do a team pursuit are probably the worst you'll ever experience, but we do some pretty bad stuff in training, so I guess you get used to it.
Come August, Ed and the rest of the Team Pursuit boys will be hoping all that hard work has paid off, and those dreams are finally coming true. Neil Smallburn, BBC Look North.
Actually, it's a pity you didn't start training a bit before, because you could have been there, couldn't you? No, seriously, I'm really proud of you. How many miles did you do today?
26.
26 miles. So the average you have to do in a day is 50. So just double that tomorrow, and Bob's your uncle.
Yes. Now, the Ratford Bulls have brought out a book, haven't they?
It is, here it is. It's like a bit of a cartoon book, and actually it's really good. It's a sort of trip down memory lane through the eyes of 2 very special characters. They are the club's mascots.
It's called Bull Boy and the Magic Album, and we'll be in primary schools across the city to teach reading and probably writing as well.
Do you want to borrow it? So the acid test. What do the children and teachers make of it?
Bull Boy was sitting quietly in a corner of the dressing room, looking at a picture of Leslie the Tongan volcano. It's really good because it's Bull Boy and the Magic Album. I like the players in the book.
And Big Leslie smiles all round!
I think it will promote reading amongst the girls, especially the boys, because it actually caters for boys-specific interests in terms of rugby and sports.
Robbie Paul beat them all, cried Bull Boy. I remember him.
Robbie Paul over the post.
I like it because there's lots of pictures of rugby players and I like the speech bubbles.
It's the first time that I read it to an audience of children, so it is a bit nerve-wracking. If they fall asleep, you've made a mistake there.
I just remembered someone else He used to be my favourite player, cried Bullboy.
A chance for Laws. Oh, he gets it!
I liked how they describe all the players and how they had other jobs. How about putting Les the Volcano's picture into the Bull's Magic album? Yes, let's agree, Bullboy. The end.
It's gone down well, obviously.
Bully for the Bulls.
Absolutely.
And well done all you young readers. Now, if you fancy picking your own strawberries but aren't too keen on all that back-breaking scrabbling around close to the ground, here's an idea.
Yeah, why not develop a way of making the fruit grow at a nice, convenient height?
Oh, this is
well, that's
gorgeous.
exactly
It's my
what one
favourite.
farm in North Yorkshire has been doing, as Kathy Killick's been finding out.
They are luscious at this time of year, but even on a beautiful day like today, picking your own strawberries can be back-breaking work. Which is why this North Yorkshire farmer came up with what he calls tabletop picking. The strawberries flourish in grow bags suspended at waist height. It's the first year he's tried it, and it's been a runaway success.
People absolutely love it, and because we sort of get better strawberries, you know, they're not on the floor, so they don't go rotten, etc. So the quality is probably 3 times better than if they were laid on the floor.
When it comes to picking them, it really couldn't be easier. All the strawberries are at picking height, there's no mud on them, and they're also ripe all the way around because they've been hanging in the light. You know, with picking this easy, I could be persuaded to make my own jam. These younger plants will really start to crop next year, but you can see the simplicity of the method. The grow bags rest on wires supported on posts. You get far more plants per acre, no weeding is needed, and the yield is 2 to 3 times greater.
It's so much easier than back-breaking work, picking them in the traditional style, and they're always muddy and mouldy. These are much nicer, and it's great for the kids as well. They like it because it's toddler height.
It's a wonderful way of easy access to the fruit, and if the weather's inclement, you can pick under cover.
Brilliant. I wish I could. I wish it was, you know, eat whilst you're picking. Always like that ethic, but yeah, it's very hard to resist not putting them in your mouth and putting them in the basket.
Of course, it doesn't really matter how the strawberries are grown, because the real pleasure of Pick Your Own is enjoying the fruits of your labour. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, the Balloon Tree Farm Shop, Gate Helmsley.
And they are absolutely delicious.
Absolutely.
No cream.
Echo that.
You shouldn't have cream.
Why?
You should
Listen,
not
Harry,
have
have I
cream.
ever listened to a word you said? And actually, I must say, although it's clotted cream, normally, of course, from Devon, it's good old Yorkshire cream. You carry on, this is your bit now.
Well, it's been a good old glorious day. Not all of us could get to the beach, of course, so we took our cameras out to Bradford to see how you've been enjoying it there.
Relaxing in the sun at the moment, getting a bit of sunshine. Maybe do something else later, but the moment's relaxing. It's relaxing, it's make time off.
I'm sitting and, you know, watching, looking flowers and enjoying, talking with friends.
Sitting out, sunning myself, just enjoying every moment while it lasts.
So that's it. Summer is here. Lisa's going to tell us that for the next,
It's over.
well, you know, for the foreseeable future, it's sunshine and glorious weather.
I keep telling you, Krista, I can't lie. No, I'm sorry, I can't. But yes, it has been a beautiful day today. But first of all, let's look at some beautiful photos which have been sent in today. This first one was sunrise this morning at Ollerton, a beautiful sunrise there. The next one, Thorpe Marsh Nature Reserve, just north of Doncaster. It's been a beautiful day there with the sun shining all day. So just how warm has it been today? Well, not quite the warmest day of the year so far. 25 degrees was reached throughout the Vale of York. That is 77 in Fahrenheit, but poor old Bridlington just 17 degrees there. For tomorrow, well, it's going to start off dry and bright, but I'm afraid the fine weather can't last. It is going to cloud over with some rain through the afternoon. And the reason why, on the pressure charts, you can see this weather front pushing up from the south. It will cloud things over and it will bring some outbreaks of rain through the afternoon. But back to today, you can see on the satellite picture the clear skies we've had, bringing us plenty of sunshine. Cloud is starting to increase now, so as we head through the evening, we'll see a scattering of showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and this will all merge with a band of rain that's going to push its way eastwards, clearing away out into the North Sea in the early hours of tomorrow morning, dry with clear spells by dawn and temperatures down to around 11 or 12 degrees. So we'll look at the sun times across the region. The sun will rise tomorrow morning at around about 25 to 5, setting again at 20 to 10 tomorrow evening. So tomorrow, the best of the weather will be first thing, dry and bright with some sunny spells, but cloud will increase from the south as we go through the morning. The morning will be dry, but into the afternoon, as the cloud thickens, we'll see a band of rain pushing its way northwards across all parts of Yorkshire. Now, it's not going to be as warm as it has been today, but it's still going to feel quite mild. And looking at top temperatures tomorrow of around 21 Celsius, that is 17 Fahrenheit, with a gentle breeze from the south. For the rest of the week, the weather stays unsettled with sunny spells and scattered showers.
Thanks, Lisa.
Oh, it's good how the temperature falls as well as the rain on Saturday, isn't it? Just in time for the weekend. OK, well, actually, you've been emailing us plenty on our story about the student refused a place in medical school because he had a criminal record when he was 15 for burglary.
Yes, so Mr Hunt contacted us to say if you can't do the time and suffer the associated consequences, don't do the crime.
Darren from Eden said he has about 6 past convictions for minor offences, now completely spent and off his record, but he says it makes no difference to potential employers. Once they see your record, you might as well just not bother.
And Derek Stainthorpe texted us and said the young man should be congratulated for trying to turn his life around. Not everyone gets a good start in life and mistakes can be made. Let him train to be a doctor, says Derek.
Yeah, and can we also say well done to Kirsty. Very brave of her to come on and say she wanted help losing weight. Here on the programme, a Yorkshire GP has said obesity has become the norm. Parents need to take action and all get weighed regularly as a family.
From all of us, good night.
Bye-bye.
Up next, a good combination on The One Show, Julian Clary and Edwina Currie. Then later, the one to watch tonight.
Nobody's going to stop wanting to kill you just because you say you're innocent.
Milroy, he won't go away. The man who makes a contract, he survives.
Criminal Justice continues at 9 here on BBC One.
The ending approaches. People and planets and stars will become dust. And the dust will become atoms, and the atoms will become nothing. This is my ultimate victory. The destruction of reality itself.
Weren't you missing this?
The answer is 25 pence.
What is the question?
What's top prize on Romanian Deal or No Deal? Can I just take the box?
Yeah, I tell you who doesn't hate Connie Hart. Hey, Dara.
Stop writing Dara fancies Connie on a piece of paper.
Well, we're back. The mocking will start at 9.
He's looking a lot smarter. I think maybe he's got a new girlfriend. Next video, there'll be like scatter cushions about.
What's wrong with these people?
Thursdays are back on BBC Two with a new series of Mock the Week plus new.
Hello, welcome to The One Show with Adrian Chiles.
And Christine Blakely, and the man who, as he would put it, deserves a warm hand on his entrance, Julian Clary.
From a warm hand to a firm hand, Edwina Currie's with us.
Do pipe down on the... Do pipe down on the back benches, please. I'm sorry, Edwina. No decorum there. No. Edwina, you'll be, as a former health minister, you'll surely be familiar with the fact that the health service is 60 years old this year, and we're celebrating that all week. 60 years in business. To mark this diamond anniversary, Justin Rowlatt's been spending time at the Victoria Hospital in Blackpool. Yesterday, we saw him in the special baby care unit.
Tonight, he meets matron, and matrons aren't like this anymore.
More's the pity, in my view. Justin shadowed a very modern matron who looks at today's NHS through very different eyes.